Go do something that's hard.
Do not quit on me. You keep going. It hurts. I know it hurts. You keep going. You keep going. Keep going. Burn. And let it burn.
It just got too hard.
It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it.
Whatever you do, runners, right now, just don't think about the 135 miles of scorching highway in front of you.
I woke up. Everybody else is fucked. Because I woke up. You all had a chance until I woke up. Today's mine. That's just what it is.
Right, you gotta embrace the storms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fears that we have, those moments of suffering, they're all part of the process. They're all part of growth. It's nature, right? You gotta be able to handle those things, man.
You have to stay in that third painful place, because staying in the pain is what gives you the catalyst to learn how to get out of pain. And so rather than trying to pull your parachute, it's like, I have to trudge through this so that it forces me to learn the individual skills, the individual variables that affect this outcome. And that means I might have to take 20 more lashings to finally get it. And then at that point, it starts to tick up.
I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I gotta start facing the struggle, and I gotta be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's why I started coming up with I'm training for life.
So what you have to do is you have to tell yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Listen to what I'm saying. Do it now. Do it now. Execute, execute, execute.
I calm my mind through calming my body, and I calm my body through work. I make it work. And I make myself do things that are very uncomfortable, that I don't want to do. And by doing that, I develop this strength and perseverance.
That was impressive. Well, Stephen, I didn't beat him to impress you. I beat him because that's what I do. I don't follow orders. I don't bend a knee. I win.
You know, if you take people, and I've told you this, and you expose them voluntarily to things that they are avoiding and are afraid of, you know, that they know they need to overcome in order to meet their goals, their self-defined goals. If you can teach people to stand up in the face of the things they're afraid of, they get stronger.
Louis, a moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory. You remember that.
Greatness is not meant for a few chosen people. It's meant for those who persistently pursue their dreams every day and make that choice when they wake up. So, just a mentality, really.
Champions do daily what everybody do occasionally. Everybody else does. You just do it daily. You're not.
Yeah, we do.
You're not extraordinary. You just do the ordinary extra. That's it. That's what makes you, separates you.
And you don't know what the upper limits to that are, because you might ask yourself, like, if for 10 years, if you didn't avoid doing what you knew you needed to do, by your own definitions, right, within the value structure that you've created, to the degree that you've done that, what would you be like?
You know, when you're built different than everybody else, and you have this desire for more, and this desire for achievement, and this desire to win, everybody else looks at you like you're fucked up, and they'll tell you that too. You know, what's wrong with you? Like, why can't you just relax? Why can't you just do this? Because I'm just not built that way, man.
At some point, everything's gonna go south on you. Everything's gonna go south, and you're gonna say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin.
It was life and death. Either you live or you die. Which one do you want, Tom? That was the decision. In the corporate life and in the gym. But if you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something. I'll repeat that. If you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something, not even yourself.
If your definition of success is win or lose, giving everything you've got and growing or learning along the way, then you're setting yourself up for success. I really think the biggest cheat code in life is just going after it and not being concerned of whether or not you fail at one specific task. Instead, understanding the big picture, what your long-term goal is, and knowing if you keep driving forward and never quit, in the end, you will succeed.
So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that's that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I need. So the reason I get up every day, even though there's no race, or there's no school, or there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself.
Well, what I like about it is I'm doing something I don't want to do. Every time I start doing things I don't want to do, I grow.
Yes. That's a lesson that people need to hear and learn. It's so important because everybody just wants to be comfortable. Everybody wants to sit on the couch. I don't want to go outside, it's cold. I don't want to do this, it's hot. Like, you've got to do things that you don't want to do because you show your body that your mind is the boss. Your mind is telling your body what to do, and then you have control.
I see a whole bunch of people walking around out here who have no idea how talented they truly are. Now I'm talking about talent, like some God-given ability. Talent that sometimes you have to hone, you have to work on, and you have to harness yourself. And they just walk around just on their phones, just clueless to how powerful they are.
This is intentional. Intentionally act like the person you want to become. Because when you intentionally act like the person you want to become, your brain sees you taking those actions, so your brain starts to change the way it relates to you. When your brain sees you high-fiving yourself in the mirror, it starts to go, oh, wait a minute. Steven loves himself. Steven's cheering for himself. We don't beat Steven up.
Where you fight, anger is your biggest tool. Fighting angry, that drains you twice as fast. Yeah, the guy in the ring is your enemy, but if all you're trying to do is kill him, then you expose yourself, you leave yourself vulnerable. Gotta protect yourself. Make his mistakes be his destruction.
I am hard to kill. I have fallen from the mountain multiple times. I'm still climbing back up day in and day out, just trying to outrun my shadow a little bit farther than I did yesterday. So when I look at hard to kill, that's what it is. Ultimately, it's your acknowledgement of how resilient you've become through adversity.
Going into combat, going into war, out of the 100 men that go into war, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80 of them are just targets. 10 do most of, or 9 do most of the fighting. 1 is a warrior. And it's a true quote to life. I saw it going through training. I saw it everywhere I went. There's so many people who just show up to life that shouldn't even be around. And there's few people who do all the work. I wanted to be part of that 9, and I'm working towards being that 1.
It's not that simple.
Why not?
No, that's the biggest lie I was ever told. And it's a lie they tell you over and over again.
What's not simple?
Any of it. All of it. It's how they get you to give up. They say it's not that simple, Vinny.
So what's the truth?
That it is. And you realize it is that simple. That it always was.
I never ran from anything because I never had nobody to go to. I've always had that, where I'm going. Home to get me. Ain't nobody there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always been in a situation where I'm forced to deal with it myself, so.
When your excuses make you feel a little bit better about the fact that you didn't execute on what you needed to execute on, then they can make you feel better, but they're not helping you. They're not helping you at all.
People need an excuse to perform. They need a race to be working toward, a goal, a holiday, a photo shoot, a wedding.
Right.
And that is what drives them forward. And, that's not nothing. That's an incredibly powerful, potent motivator.
Yeah.
But
it's worked for a lot of people.
If you can manage to perform without that, that's real power. Because it means that not only are you going to choose your suffering, but you're going to continue to hit close to your maximum performance with no finish line, no crowd celebrating your completion, no glory, no nothing.
I just cracked one day and I was like, happiness. Because it felt so out of reach that I was like, just it. I'm not even gonna shoot for it. I'm just gonna do stuff.
What you need is the one thing I talk about in my book, which is straight up brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world.
You don't want to listen to the people who are closest to you. You want to listen to the people who are closest to your goals. And so listen to the people who are already at your goals, who already have achieved those goals, and listen to their feedback. Because I'll say, for example, for me, like I rarely do, but if I post anything of me at the gym, the only people who comment are people who are smaller than me.
It's a dangerous world out there, all right? And a dangerous man is a man who prepares himself mentally, emotionally, and physically to meet danger with danger. All right?
We all talk about the hard work. We all talk about, okay, be this, be that, be this, be that. But what I figured out as I got older is it's not about working hard in terms of putting in long hours, but it's about working smart. It's about working smart. When you work smart, it gives you more time to be able to spend with your family, right? And have that consistency, because it's important to win all facets, man.
Caring only makes you
weak. They think you care, they'll walk all over you.
Know that if you have big goals and big dreams, along the way, failure is going to happen. So how fast do you get up from that?
For me, anger was good. Anger was good because it was motivating. The more I could create an enemy, the more I wanted to go out and kill those guys.
He was looking at me and he just had this like look and he's just swinging his hands. And I said, "You're not gonna beat me. I'm prepared to die." And I meant that, man. I swear to God on my life, I meant that.
Definitely, for sure, the most difficult thing is keeping your goal and your eyes set on that and not being distracted, not giving up. I think the easiest thing in life is to give up on whatever you're focused on or whatever you're hopeful for. The hardest thing is to keep going, but we have to continue to hold on. And I would imagine for so many people out there, that is probably the most difficult thing.
I was extremely harsh on myself, which I think now is a strength because I'm super honest with myself. And I don't like to be nice to myself whenever I do a mistake. I'm very harsh and I'm very honest with myself. But at the same time, I think the reaction from that is extremely important. The way you react to mistakes you've done inside the car, this is where you manage to transform a mistake into something positive from learning from it.
Through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do. And that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. Start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, get out a piece of paper again and write these things down. What am I going to do tomorrow specifically, so I can move towards this goal? Don't try and do everything at once. You need to take smaller steps. You need to move in an incremental way to achieve anything worthwhile.
The dumb shit that I've done or the bad mistakes that I've made, they've taught me. You learn. That's why failure is so important. Failing and up and making mistakes, it's very important. That's how you learn. The bad feeling that you get from something that you shouldn't have done or wish you didn't do or wish you did better, especially failing at something where you half-assed it and you just feel like a loser, that just teaches you. It teaches you to get your shit together.
Be a dangerous man. That's a lifetime right there of study, okay? But start working on that. Second, be a dangerous man. Now, being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things, all right? And it's not about going out and lifting weights and getting a bunch of tattoos and wearing leather jackets and walking around with your chest and shoulders up, hulking around saying, I'm dangerous. That's very rarely is that a dangerous man. Often the most dangerous man in the room is the quietest man in the room.
I became obsessed. With being the baddest that God ever created. Am I that? I don't care. I believe it. And I was trying to tell him, once you become obsessed with something, obsessed, it's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say, you gotta be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do. It's not about being a Navy SEAL, people. The best at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great.
Everyone thinks you're crazy until it works. And so, I mean, if you think of the outcome as the trump card, then all of the pain and suffering that you lead up to that point, if you're just, I'm trying to think of an appropriate saying, I was gonna say balls deep certain, that no matter what, you will die or you will get there, then the likelihood that all of the things that you've done up to that point will then be justified in retrospect is super high. And I actually see that as super compelling, as a thing to latch onto in harder times.
If you're trying to do something meaningful, if you don't have the mindset that you're the best ever, you failed already. So if you don't have the mindset that you are the best reporter ever, then you already failed. And that's been my mindset since I can remember. That will be my mindset as long as I can remember anything, that I am the best ever at what I do. And every day that I step on the basketball floor, I will strive to be that. But my mindset will always be as such, as I am the best to do what I do. And that'll give me a shot at being the best.
But most importantly, man, you gotta look at things and say, like at a certain point, like eliminate the outcome. Stop being driven by rewards. Stop being driven by outcomes. Stop being driven by, if I get this, I'm gonna do this. Just work. And if you don't get what you thought you were gonna get, show up and still go to work. Because along the process, what's more important, what you acquire or who you become? And a lot of people think what they acquire is the thing that makes them who they are. No, it's who you become in the process of chasing what you want to acquire, right? Change expectation for appreciation. Extract the lessons and the blessings from the situations that didn't turn out the way you wanted them to turn out. But most importantly, man, approach it and eliminate the outcome, right? Just go for it, work, go to work.
The moment I did it, I was like, wow, that took way less time than I thought it was going to take. And not only that, it took way less time than it took me to delay to actually get to this point. And if I had only started with just doing what I was supposed to do, I could have done 4 or 5 other things that I was also supposed to do by this exact same point. And so thinking about it from that perspective, I've tried to eliminate as much time between I think I should do this thing and beginning doing it. And I think you get this positive reinforcement cycle that occurs every time you start. I call it pulling the thread. It's like, I just need to start pulling the thread. And then all of a sudden what feels really unknown becomes very tangible. And you're like, oh, I understand the 6 problems I have to solve to do this big thing. But now I know the problems. And then it feels like you can wrap your arms around it. And then you can start taking it one bite at a time.
So it's like if you're playing a video game and the way to win the game was to make the most successful character, right? You would have probably a really character-driven human being in terms of like, they'd be patient, they'd be hardworking. Like you think about all these traits that they would have, right? They'd probably be tough emotionally, like, et cetera. All right, cool, that's the character. And that's the person who's gonna be really successful. We can all probably agree on that. Okay, how do you create someone who's patient? How do you create someone who's tough? How do you create someone who, right, so all of a sudden, if we had to then engineer the game in order to boost those points, we'd have to get them beat up a lot so that they could get tough. We'd have to make them wait a long time so they could become patient. That's right. And so to the point that you made about like these people who become really successful have these traits and also share the fact that they've been through all this shit. It's like, well, they got the trait from the shit, and then the trait was the ultimate output of the experience, and that trait then made them super successful that they didn't have earlier.
If you're gonna do it, do it. Say what you can do what you say. If you can't do it, don't say you can do it. Don't over leverage yourself. Don't over leverage a decision and then jump in and kind of dip a toe. I think I'll try it out. No, think if you're gonna try it out beforehand, but when it's time to go, dive. Finish it, find out. Come out the other side. Don't leave it and go, ooh, if I just would, that keeps me up at night. I think it keeps a lot of us up at night. when you half-ass something, you just don't know. Whether you failed or succeeded, got what you want or didn't get what you want, finding out and looking in the mirror and going, I didn't half-ass it, I went all the way, I found out, and that ain't for me. Or I found out, and you damn right that is for me. That's a great place to get to. But the limbo of not knowing, if you half-ass something, the limbo of going, I hedged my bet.
What could have happened?
You don't know.
But can people just make that change? I mean,
Yes,
look,
you can,
I believe they
but
can.
you have to plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan, and you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever shit job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you f***ed up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, God damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something and to know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific.
People only root for people who don't need it. Like the amount of times when I was on my lonely path where I was too different from the friends that I had, but not successful enough to be friends with the people that I wanted to be friends with. That's when you want people to root for you. That's when you want people to support you. Once you've already won, people are like, he's amazing, he's so good. But like, that's the time when you need it the least. And so you always have to be the person who roots for you before everyone else does. And it's usually a single clap in the auditorium for a very long period of time. It is a slow clap that's just you rooting for you. And that visual, I think, is one that you can kind of take because it is. People struggle to do things alone. And the path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people. And rather than fighting that or bemoaning it, see it as an indicator that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else were cheering you on, then it means you're not in the right place because it means you're just like everyone else and that's not where you want to be.
Are you happy? What's wrong with you? I'm driven. I'm obsessed. And that's what you see.
I dreamt this so much, so clearly, so precisely, and so frequently that it has manifested itself into reality. And that's what I am feeling right now. It's a dream come true.
You know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it.
Now let me tell you something. All my life, I was the underdog. They told me I wasn't good enough. They told me I was dreaming too big. They said a kid from the LBC couldn't make it. But guess what? I didn't let none of that stop me. I stayed true to myself. I stayed focused on the vision, and I turned them no's into yeses. See, adversity is like the gym for your soul. It hurts, it's heavy, but it builds you up. Every time you wanted to quit, every time life tried to break you, you chose to stand tall. That's what makes you great.
People, their associations are to avoid anything that's uncomfortable. But it's so illogical because when you look at comfort and you look at success and progress and the feelings of accomplishment and of getting past certain hurdles in terms of like how you feel about life, a lot of those are connected to discomfort. Like discomfort is your friend. It really is. Like discomfort and not being happy and content with certain situations in life or certain feelings in life, they're massive motivators, and they're amazing at facilitating change, and yet are instinct is to avoid those and just sit on the couch and watch some reality show about dudes who make moonshine.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward.
Being distracted by thoughts is the same as being dreaming but not being asleep. That you're lost in the mind and you haven't realized. In the same way as when you're in a dream, you are lost in the dream and you haven't realized. The only difference being that your eyes are open and you're kind of conscious. You're also kind of not conscious at all. If you can spend 5 or 10 times, even for just like 10 seconds, going, I'm really here. Holy fuck, I'm alive. And I can feel the floor beneath my feet and I can smell whatever it is that's coming into my nose. And like, this is where I am. That is so much further ahead.
In a situation like that, and man, if I got access to a whole squad of Marines, it's like, let's go, boys, you know? But if you don't, it's not about what you're physically capable. It's about what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to face? What danger are you willing to face? What catastrophic failure are you willing to take the chance on?
Unrelenting voice in my head. We all have this voice. It's the right or wrong voice. And a lot of times that voice guides us into comfort. And my voice guided me into comfort a lot. But I have this other voice I heard my whole life saying, hey, what are you doing? Nah, man, we gotta go over here. We gotta go over here to that rock pile over in the corner where nobody's at. That's where victory's at. We're over there in that corner. So this voice was giving me all these answers. Now, I wasn't a real smart kid growing up, but I had this crazy voice in my head saying, over there is where the answers are.
The last few years, really understanding that it's about the bigger picture. I'm fighting for something far greater than winning a race. I'm really fighting for change in the world. You know, we're more divided than ever. I would say it's devastating. I can't watch the news. It's devastating. There's just so much happening. But there are so many great people out there that are doing really great things. And I want to be I want to be a part of that inspirational energy bubble.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong that you could stop doing. Right? So it's a fairly limited attempt. First of all, we're not going to say that you know what the good is or what the truth is in any ultimate sense. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down.
Sometimes a big part of success is just not being lazy and just doing it. Yeah. That's like 90% of it is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like, you're not going to feel perfect every day. If I only worked out when I felt good, I'd be a fat because there's a lot of days I don't want to do it. I mean, it's pretty much the same with everybody that actually gets good at something. There's got to be those days you push through, and they're probably going to be more numerous than the days you don't. And so the benefit of discipline in my eyes has always been that through discipline, I get things done.
Clear vision is what helped me since a very, very young age, because even though I started at 3.5, maybe from 3.5 to 5, it was only for fun. But already from 5, every time I was getting to the track, yes, I love what I do, but I want to be the best. This was super important for me to get away off the track the evening and to have learned something new and to have done a step in terms of driving, and understanding of the karting and all of these kind of things. And this I've always kept it.